Hey, this is Matt. Once again, welcome back to another videos. Another paid request. This time for Dan. Thank you so much for that. And for those interested in requesting any type of videos, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. And this is for the 2008 film Wanted. And this is one of those films I still don't know whether I liked or disliked, which I guess is a step up because before watches again, I would say, yeah, I'm not a fan of that film. And I'm still not a big fan of the movie, but I know when the film came out, it got a big box office take. I know a lot of people surprised it never got a sequel. And, I mean, there are fans of the film, and I can understand it to a point, but I don't know, just... It is a very ridiculous movie, and there's many ridiculous films I enjoy. I think it doesn't help that a lot of ridiculousness is what's a lot of CGI that does really hold up the best nowadays. And like if you see one or two scenes and they don't hold up because of the test of time, maybe that could be manageable, but there's a decent amount in this and not a lot of quote practical action scenes. So it makes it a bit hard for me to look at in that perspective. Just like the cast, you got James McAvoy well before films like Split, as well as being the young Charles Xavier in the X-Men First Class, Dark Phoenix, all those movies. You got Angelina Jolie, you got Morgan Freeman, you got a very young Chris Pratt, which I forgot he was in this. I believe this is based on a comic, which I'd never read, and it's about how there's this secret society of assassins called the Fraternity. Our lead guy, James McAvoy, has a dead end off his job. I will admit, though, the one thing, watch this again, I did not mind James McAvoy's performance. Now, whether because since then I've seen so much worse performances throughout the years, but he's actually not bad in this. I like him a lot more in this than as Charles Xavier, among other movies. This, maybe because his character understand, he's a guy that gets anxiety, he's got to take these pills, he's depressed, but he's going through life and taking it. He has a girlfriend who's bitchy, he has a best friend who's cheating with his girlfriend. So again, this guy's own girlfriend's cheating with his best friend. His best friend's played by Chris Pratt, which I forgot that was him. Like, the scene where James McAvoy hits the guy with a keyboard, like keys fly out to say "fuck you." The guy getting smacked is Chris Pratt, who of course was in Guardians of the Galaxy, among many other films. I mean, oh shit, that's him. Okay. He has his boss, who's a overweight lady who can't get enough donuts, and always nagging on the guy, and you can feel for the guy. I thought James McAvoy played that character fairly well. It made me feel sorry for him. So one day, he beats Angelina Jolie, and he gets attacked, and she seems to be protecting him. And she has this thing where she puts a gun in a holder, and she's able to turn it in order to look to see where the guy is and turn it again. Which kind of an interesting invention. Like, that was a bit creative. And I will say there is at least a level of creativity in the movie that I could appreciate. But definitely very ridiculous stuff. Because the way it rationalizes the ridiculousness is that certain people have a certain bit of adrenaline that they can tap into and do more than the regular person. Really hone in their, whether focus, speed, whatever concentration, whatever the case may be. So, for example, Angelina Jolie works for Morgan Freeman, and they worked for this group. who are saying that this guy's taking them out one by one, and the next target is this kid. In fact, this guy took out your dad, James McAvoy. And if you want revenge, we can train you. Well, before that happens, you see this guy taking on one of the other fraternity members. And the other guy notices something. He's running super speed through the hallway so fast, papers are blasted everywhere. He jumps out the window, and he jumps from one building all across to the other like it's the Matrix. But again, the CGI isn't that great. And maybe a film like The Matrix, like you watch the first Matrix, there's a lot of practical stuff in terms of fight scenes, the big gunfight sequence with Terry Ann Moss and Keanu Reeves versus these guards, that makes it stand the test of time better compared to this, where the guy crashes through. You see all the CG glass and him going over, and you almost kind of laugh at the ridiculousness of it, but you're not supposed to be laughing. But there is some creativity, like the guy realizing he's on the wrong spot because the others were decoys, and the sniper shoots him, and you see the bullet come out of the guy's head. Then it goes backwards, and you see it going backwards throughout the air, and you see where it originated from. That's a piece of creative direction from this guy. I can't pronounce his name. Timur. I can't pronounce his last name. He did that film called, was it Night Watch, and the sequel Day Watch. And yeah, I can give credit where credit's due. The director does have some creative bones in him. I can appreciate that at least. So cut to, again, Angelina Jolie is rescuing James McAvoy. And you do get these crazy scenes. For example, Angelina Jolie is driving, and she's able to drive where the car kind of smashes on the side of the bus, and the bus tips over, so the car's on top, and then it drives off. Kind of shit that you would see now in Fast and Furious movies, pretty much. And when they get James McAvoy to where he needs to go, Morgan Freeman goes, shoot the wings off these flies or die. What are you talking about? Come on, do it. And his adrenaline kicks in, he's able to do it, and now Morgan Freeman tells him what this fraternity of assassins are. That they have this bit of adrenaline that they could tap into, and the training begins where we pick our targets from this, I almost said Fruit of the Loom, but that's not it. The Loom of Destiny or Loom of Fate. I think it's the Loom of Fate, where fate tells us who we need to kill, because if we don't, this person will lead to more deaths, and we follow the code. And so the training involves learning how to take a punch and how many punches you could take to showcase how much pain you could take, training, knife fighting, go with Jolie, subway riding, and try to dodge certain gaps at the nick of time. And there's a lot of stuff to take in. There's this thing you could bathe in that will fix your injuries very quickly. Even if you're on top of the subway and your head gets smacked on the fucking bridge, you could take this bath and be fine the next day with all this, looks like a bunch of frosting stuck on you. Like the frosting you have on donuts or shit. And somehow this honing of your adrenaline can make you curve bullets. And that was the big thing with this movie at the time, is the curving the bullets. And there's a lot of curving the bullet in this, whether it be him in training and Angelina Jolie. Why I can't say Angelina, I don't know why. Jolie stands in front, come on, you can do it. It curves the bullet that narrowly misses her hair and hits the target. Or him riding on the subway train and curving the bullet to hit a target. there's a bit where James McAvoy and this other assassin, they're fighting each other and they're shooting bullets and they both curve and the bullets hit each other at the same time. There's a lot of that stuff going on. Until ultimately he does some jobs for them. He even makes it where he drives on another car and flips over in order to shoot a guy upside down. Again, it's very ridiculous. You either go with it or you don't. You either go with the silliness of it all. And it's one of those things that, again, I kind of appreciate the audacity of it. And that it does create some creative... I mean, there's not many movies, where they shoot to curve the bullet. So does make it feel a bit more fresh and unique. And again, James McAvoy does a good job. Like, when he finally quits his job and tells his nagging boss to shut the fuck up. And then he goes to his best friend who is fucking his own girlfriend. And Chris Pratt's like, "You the man." And he takes a keyboard and smashes Chris Pratt in the face. "You're right, I am the man." That's a cool shot. The keyboard and the teeth flying out to say "fuck you." That's a cool looking shot. That's a creative shot. And I'm like, rooting for the guy. Does you feel bad for James McAvoy? And he does give a good performance in this. He does. So there are some good notes to this. But again, when I just watch the action scenes, it's just kind of like... Okay, for example, I find it ironic that this movie got praised for its... What was it they said? Its pacing, its crazy action. But the year before, you had a film called Shoot 'Em Up. And, I don't know if I ever... Well, it might be over there. With Clive Owen. That's a crazy, insane action movie. That does have some ridiculous moments. A lot of them, actually. The whole skydiving scene, which is CGI. But a lot of the action is done practical, so it's him sliding and shooting, or it's him bungee jumping down these stairs and shooting all these bad guys, or him kicking up a table so he could block it and shoot some guys. Or he's driving, he goes to the windshield to go into the bad guy's windshield and shoot all the bad guys. I'm sitting there going, where were these critics that are praising this film about its frenetic action? You're the same critics that took a shit on Shoot 'Em Up, and I think Shoot 'Em Up stands the test of time more because most of the actions are done practical, in camera, so it's crazy, insane, and silly, but the same time it's done for real in camera, so it makes it more, it's weird to say believable, just more keen to the eye of the viewer, because you don't have this kind of cartoon CGI frolicking around like in this. Like the guy jumping through the window and all the CG there, or the car having to go into CGI to get on the side of a bus, or all that stuff. And it does remind me a bit of The Matrix. I mean, I know it's about a 10-year difference, 99 to 2008. I know it's based on a comic book on its own, but either Keanu Reeves is dodging bullet or this is curving the bullet. I know it's not the same, but just... It's still what it reminds me of when I watch it. And spoilers, what you come to find out is during this train sequence, speaking of cartoonish, where James McAvoy is hunting the guy who he believes is hunting him, who he believes killed his dad, and they keep shooting at each other, and they're curving the bullets keep hitting each other. This happens like 2 or 3 times. Angelina Jolie crashes her car into this train, and then you have this cartoonish CG train derailment where everyone's flying everywhere, and this looks like a video game from back to the PS3 video game, and it's hard to wrap my brain around it because of how it doesn't hold up the best, those effects. So then James McAvoy shoots the guy, even though the guy's saving him. And then the guy admits, no, I'm your dad. They lied to you. Jolie says his name was on the Fruit of the Loom. Your name was on it too. McAvoy escapes. Meets up with a guy they met earlier, Terence Stamp, who tells him the truth about your dad's been watching you. In fact, he's been trying to protect you. Granted, here's an idea. Why didn't you find him earlier? And I don't know. You know this guy. The dad could come to him earlier and, I don't know, shoot a tranquilizer dart, tie him down, go, listen, this is who I am, and the dad could have done a lot better way, smarter way. Tell him a lot earlier. But anyway. Morgan Freeman's name was on that fate, that loom of fate. But Morgan Freeman hit it, and then he started making up his own hits to hide that fact. James McAvoy's father found out about it, realized that the fraternity has been now, its soul has been blackened, so to speak. So he wanted to stop them and protect his son. But instead, the fraternity used his own son against him and turned him into a killer to kill his own dad. So, of course, James McAvoy's pissed about that. Now, it's not every day. Again, this is what I kind of appreciate about the film, that you have a bunch of suicide rat bombers. Meaning, the guy gets a lot of peanut butter to get all these rats, and he puts bombs on all these rats and unleashes it. So the finale has all these rats with bombs on them exploding. That's not something you see every day. And that is a bit different, it's a bit creative. It made me laugh a bit. Because I forgot that was in this. And then pretty much one of the few like practical scenes is James McAvoy, he jumps through a window, that's CGI. Which made, all the CGI glass and stuff. But the best action scene to me is the one that was the more practical. Him kind of running, shooting, gets this gun from this guy, shoots him, gets this guy in the guy's face, shoots, blows a bullet right through his fucking back of his head. Then he uses the guy's body as a shield where balls are being pumped to the body, and he's shooting all these guys. I'm like, why wasn't more of the action scenes like this? Then I probably would have liked this film more. And there's CG enhancements, but there's a lot of practical and him getting the gun in a cool way, or getting the gun, grabbing it. Okay, highly stylized, like a John Woo film or such, but that was, to be the best action scene in the movie. I wish more of the action in the movie was like that. And a lot less like the train sequence, which I didn't care for. To just two CGI cartoon video game looking, that takes me out of it. If I'm enjoying the rest of the film, I can, one or two times I could deal with it, but Rambo 4 I love. There's CG in that. When it's so abundant and it could be a bit, again, it'll take me out a bit. But I would say, like, I didn't mind that. I didn't mind the fight he has with this guy that trained him with the knife, the butcher guy. And it's this thing where he kind of blocks it with his gun, and he's able to shoot it. Now, of course, I'm thinking, wouldn't the gun blow up in his hand? Like, if a blade's in the barrel and he shoots, wouldn't be like... but you're not supposed to... Again. It's not in the realm of reality. So as he shoots, the blade shoots out and hits the guy. I'm like, when the bullet hit that and it exploded in his hand. Well, anyway, you're not supposed to look at it that way. Until ultimately, spoiler, he comes across Morgan Freeman, tells the truth. Jolie, we made it abundantly clear throughout the film that she's very much adamant about the code. She doesn't have a whole lot of dialogue in this. And I do like Angelina Jolie. A lot of people don't. I don't mind her. I liked her in Mr. and Mrs. Smith. I liked her in the first Tomb Raider movie. Yeah, I don't mind her. I think she has a nice distinct look to her. She doesn't have a whole lot of dialogue, so other than a few exchanges, you have like one exchange that tells you her backstory, but there's not a whole lot for her, uh, other than some of the bits of action. But she curves the bullet, shoots all the assassins, including herself. Morgan Freeman escapes. Later on, James McAvoy uses a decoy. I do like the way, I mean, it's definitely a unique way for Morgan Freeman to die, where he's like, oh, fuck. And his eyes widen, and you see the bullet come out. That goes back. It appears James McAvoy narrating about how he's going to take control of his life, away from the bitchy bosses and cheating girlfriends and asshole best friends. What the fuck have you done lately? Like, I almost want to say, okay, Mr. Edgelord. Is the movie trying to be an edgelord now? But I get what it's trying to do. And I will admit, it did kind of make me chuckle. It's definitely a memorable way to end your movie. Nice little high point, high note. So I would say I don't hate this movie as much as I did back in the day. But I would never own it in my collection either. I think there was a video game of this when it came out. I forget for what system. Maybe that rooster will tell me what system is, so I don't speak chickenese. But it is what it is. So yeah, I mean, it's cool to see actors like Morgan Freeman in there, and it's fun to see an early role from Chris Pratt. James McAvoy, I warmed up to in this. I thought he was actually kind of likable, and you felt sorry for the character. I thought he gave a pretty decent performance. The action scenes, for the most part, very heavily relied on CGI. And the one that I thought was the best balance was the final bit. His final carnage against all these guys. Again, it just, for me, it was just a bit too little too late. I was, like I said, the car chases, just, with all this, it was almost like too ridiculous even for me. Like I say, if there was more practicality involved, maybe I could have more fun with the ridiculousness of it all. The other character, like Angelina Jolie, like I said, she doesn't have much dialogue. She's a teacher, one of the teachers for this guy. I can't say I was that intrigued with her character, though. Morgan Freeman, it's always nice to see him in there. I did like what he says the line, "We killed this motherfucker." Just the way he said it. "Killed this motherfucker." Just not every day you get to hear Morgan Freeman talk that way. Always nice to see Terence Stamp in there. But it's also one of those things that it feels more like a setup movie. In a weird way, like we gotta set up what the fraternity was, we gotta set up what the adrenaline thing is, we gotta set up this guy getting his knowledge of what he could do, his training, until he could finally go for force, at least a little bit at the end. I guess that's why they were kind of curious of doing a sequel. I don't know what you would do in the sequel because the fraternity is gone. Would he still be an assassin with this Loom of Fate. He's going to take control of his life. Maybe someone would go after him. I don't know what the sequel would have been. But yeah. I do like the usage of some of the songs. 9 Inch Nails, Every Day is exactly the same. That song's used a couple times. I think that's a pretty good song. So it's nice to hear that. So I go back and forth. If you asked me one day, I would go, it's time waster. If you ask me another, you go, it's not really big on it. So I don't know. It is what it is. But I know a lot of people like the film, so I can see to a point why, but there's just other films, many other films I prefer in the action genre. So with that said, thanks for watching. We'll see you guys later. Bye bye.